and pre-monsoon repairs for the residential building. Very well-known personality in Mumbai region. So I would like to request Manjua Devi ma'am to introduce our guest speaker. Manjua Devi ma'am.
Yes, Rasal, thank you. Uh, Hello, good evening, everyone. Today we have with us Mr. Vishal V. Kadne for a webinar on structural audit and pre-monsoon repairs for residential buildings. This is perfect time since the monsoon has started. Civil engineering is one of the oldest professions which provides basic infrastructure to all the human beings. Every structure has its own service line. Still, it is advisable that all structures are monitored periodically to know present serviceability and structural viability. Structural audit is a preliminary technical survey of a building to assess its general health, as it is usually initiated as the first step for repairs. To talk all these things, today we have with us Mr. Vishal Khatne, sir, structural consultant panel in Greater Mumbai Municipal Corporation. In 2011, Mr. Khatne completed the construction of Asia's biggest mall in Bandung. In 2014, he completed the construction of a high-end residential tower with over 50 stories. He was honored with Chartered Engineer degree by Institute of Engineering. In 2018, he was reappointed as Government Registered Valuer and subsequently he was appointed as Registered Valuer by IBBI. He is a two-time distinguished nominee of Padma Shri Award. With this short and brief introduction, on behalf of Datta Meghe College of Engineering, I extend you a warm welcome, sir. Now over to you, Satne sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, Engineer Vishal Kadne, Vishal Vijay Kadne. I'm ex-student of Datta Meghe College of Engineering, one of the best college for civil engineering forever. And I'm thankful to honorable faculties and all my student friends for this webinar. So here I'm putting my slides and Yash, is this access has been shared with us? Yash, hello.
Yes, sir, I can
Can
hear you.
uh, can you open this share window for me? Share option.
Um,
I think my screen is not visible to you guys. Hello?
no, sir, not really.
No, no? Mm, just a moment.
Sir, there must be some present now option available.
Is it visible? Hello?
No, sir, no, it's not yet.
No, not yet.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, now it is
Yes,
coming.
sir.
Yes,
Okay, just
yes.
to release your pressure, there are only few slides. 13 slides are there. So you guys be
Thank you, sir.
assured that you will be free within half an hour or 45 minutes, 45 minutes. So I'm starting here with the presentation. This is a webinar for special civil engineering students, exclusively for DMC, OE guys, and facilitated by ACES. The topic is structural audit and pre-monsoon repairs for residential building. Myself, Vishal Kadne, I did my diploma from GP Thane, then degree from DMC, then ME, and then FIV and Chartered Engineer. Currently, I am panel member of MCGM Structural Experts Panel, and I'm director of the Mumbai District Cooperative Housing Federation Limited, which is the Asia's biggest housing federation. My contact details are shared in the bottom right of the slide. First thing, let us discuss why this webinar, why this topic has been selected. Structural audit and pre-monsoon repairs. I tried to divide this webinar's agenda into two distinguished items. One is the technical, the 4 points on left hand side of the slide that you can see, and other 4 points are the professional. So let us start with the discussion why this webinar. You are free to put your queries or suggestions or answers into chat box. Why this webinar? First is the, of course, yes, awareness among the civil engineering student. Most of the times we read various articles that this so and so building collapse. Even in yesterday's Nisarg cyclone, we read in newspapers, or we must have watched on TV channels that so and so shade has been collapsed, number of trees collapse, number of shade collapse, structure collapse. So what is the reason behind this structural failure? First thing is that. Second, how does it affect actual end user of the structure? And third is the neighboring residents. So the effect of the structural failure. Second topic is we must understand who is the process initiator, executor, and authorities. Now, when we heard word structural audit, we must understand why this process has to initiate. Who will be a process initiator? Either any civic body like municipal corporation or MHADA or SIDCO, they have to issue any particular notice to the structure, or we own as a responsible citizen, we have to analyze the stability and safety of our own structure. Then executors who can perform structural audit, who can sign on the structural audit report, and who is authorized for compliance of the structural audit. And final one is the authorities. There are several civic bodies like we discussed, MCGM, NMMC, or MHADA. They can be called as authorities. Third one agenda is to get familiar with the different type of analysis, serviceability, structural viability of any buildings. Let us don't afraid with this particular word, because analysis, structural analysis 1, structural analysis 2, you must be studying in your graduation. So what type of analysis exclusively we are going to perform into structural audit? Serviceability of the structure and viability of the structure. These are again two different important factors that we have to consider in this agenda. Now, fourth one, which is very important, and specifically we are on the verge of the monsoon. In fact, monsoon has been started. So pre-monsoon checklist, which are the key points that we must consider into pre-monsoon checklist, and what are the types of repairs and entities. And after that, the detailed process of structural audit, and finally conclusion of the structural audit, which is called as a Proforma B. This one is a technical agenda. Now let us come on the right hand side of the slide, where I tried to explain professional opportunities which are available into structural engineering field. Then second one is, what is the difference between structural engineers and structural auditors? Nowadays, we must heard I am doing design on so and so structure. Someone is doing piping, someone is doing steel structure, someone is doing RCC structure. So is everyone authorized to perform structural audit? No. We'll discuss this into next slides. Who is a structural engineer and who is a structural auditor? Then I also tried in a few slides to cover membership of detail of the various professional bodies where structural engineering professional can get a membership, and they can explore different opportunities into national and international forum. And finally, on the guidelines of the COVID, what are the special effects those have been left by the COVID on repair and structural audit during this longest lockdown in India? So these are some broad agendas that we try to complete into this webinar. And of course, yes, you all are free to put your queries or your some questions in your mind. I'll be happy to answer on those. Now, let us move ahead. What is mean by structural audit? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir, perfectly.
Yes, sir.
Perfectly, no? Yeah. What is mean by structural audit? Now here I tried to put some definition which are given into a book, but the point number one, if you can read, it is a very common definition of the structural audit, which is valid all over the industry in terms of the practical usage of the audit. Structural audit is an overall health and performance checkup of a building, like doctor examines a patient. It ensures that the building and its premises are safe and have no risk. It analyzes and suggests appropriate repairs and retrofitting measures required for the building to perform better in its service life. Here, these two words, repairs and retrofittings, these two words may be new to you, but uh, other part of the definition must be clear to everyone. It is like a full body checkup, what we do to get the fitness certificate from a doctor. Like that, we have to analyze, we mean structural auditor have to analyze the structure, and he has to conclude the pro forma B in terms of the fitness certificate. Now what does structural audit involves? Through examination of the buildings, it involves nothing but all visible defect, highlighting critical areas of the defect, diagnosis of damage, carrying out NDT, suggesting remedial measures. Now, structural failure. Why does it occurs? Because of forces. What type of forces? Static forces. Static forces means stationary forces, structure's own weight, own load of the structure, or moving forces, which is called as a dynamic forces. There may be any type of moving forces like wind load, sea load, people, vehicles in the parking, water in the swimming pool, water retained in the overhead water tank. Any type of forces can affect a structural failure. In next slides, we will go through structural failures in detail. Some of the main causes of building collapse. Here I try to put some major causes, but in addition to this, interior done by unauthorized or unskilled contractor is one of the major cause which is going on nowadays into MMR region. For an example, when we have a split AC installation going on in apartment, generally to pass on the drainage pipe of AC, we do a core cut, concrete cut of around 75 dia into wall or into a concrete structure. This is very horrible. Sometimes we do changes into position of the WC and wash basins. Plumber forget to take a pressure test, and when water is fully charged into pipe, the joint gets open, leakage started, it start corrosion of reinforcement. So this type of some minor causes are also responsible for the building collapses. You must have heard incident in Ghatkopar which happened few years back during the interior or renovation of the hospital. That entire building was collapsed. Some of the main causes of building collapse are bad design, faulty construction, foundation failure, extraordinary loads, unauthorized addition and alteration. This concept is very important, unauthorized addition and alteration, for those who want to get done their expertise into licensing. What is mean by authorized addition and alteration or authorized interior work? Next one is unexpected failure modes, combination of causes. But collapses also occur due to natural disasters such as earthquakes, flood, hurricanes, cyclone, and fires, which are beyond our limit. Structural audit parameters will vary for residential building, commercial, and industrial. That is why name of our today's webinar is specifically for residential building. Next point is structural engineers and structural auditors. What is the comparison? What is the, can anyone suggest what is meant by structural engineer? Who is a structural engineer and who is structural auditor based on your experience as on it? Can anyone suggest? Can anyone share their ideas? Let me tell you, structural engineer is the one who is expertise into design, analyze, and we can say checking viability of the structure, and he may have got registration as a structural engineer from local civic body. Further, he can apply to civic body for his registration as a structural auditor, or we can say panel member of a structural auditor. Structural auditor is structural engineer, but it is not necessary that every structural engineer is competent and he may be a structural auditor. So structural engineer can go further and he can develop his experience, he can develop his competency from lab point of view, from entity point of view, from certain infrastructure point of view, and further he can apply local civic body to become a structural auditor. And every structural auditor is a structural engineer, but every structural engineer may not be a structural auditor. So while selecting a structural auditor for your particular building, be assured. Now, society bylaws number 77 and what is section 353. These two bylaws are very important from structural audit point of view. Bylaws number 77 is based on the Maharashtra Cooperative Act 1960. In this bylaws, they have very clearly mentioned why the audit has been necessarily done and what should be the frequency of the audit, after how many years you have to perform the audit. And MCGM section 353, which empowers BMC staff, MCGM staff to perform the structural audit and to punish if any violation is there, then they may prosecute the apartment owner or the occupant of the apartment. Next is pre-monsoon checklist. Of course, yes, before going for the structural audit, there should be some proper study of the structure, and for that we have prepared some pre-monsoon checklists which are practically being used all over the industry. And then methodology is there, how to do the audit, what type of investigation we have to do, what are the different recommendations, what type of repairs we have to perform, and finally, yes, conclusion and pro forma B. Then we will see various notices by the civic body. Now we'll move to the next slide. Let us start our main agenda, the structural audit. This is a part of pre-process. Before starting structural audit, we must get ready with the pre-monsoon checklist. What are the different factors those can be proved as a root causes or root of the damages, reason for the damages. First, crack on the external wall. Now we can understand, yes, water seepage can be passed on through cracks. Next one is the gaps around the window. After certain years, the silicone filled in between the glass and window panel get removed and water start entering into the gaps around the windows. In third image on the right hand side, blockage in the drain pipe outlet. This blockage will force water to return on to the surface of the terrace. We must understand terrace is waterproof structure. It is not a water retaining structure. So it has got its own limitation to retain the water up to certain intervals or up to certain units. After that, it will start seeping. Dampness around the electrical fittings, checking waterproofing condition of the roof, termite infestation. This is the second page of the pre-monsoon checklist. Leak in the roof, vegetation growth. We can see the roots of the different plants starts and get grown into the surfaces of the walls, concrete, everything, and further develop different types of the cracks, and they allow water seepage from the external side. We can see in this photo the wall which is most exterior and which is exposed to the atmosphere have developed different type of vegetation growth. Now, what different water packets into roofs? Here we can see the audio unit of the AC has been fixed, and the AC outlet is left over the terrace, and the entire water has been done into stagnant position. Then sign of the moisture, dampness. Here we can see the position of the dampness. We must understand that the seepage and dampness both are different concept. Then paint deterioration. I think there is a repetition of the image, water pockets into the roof. So these are all about the pre-monsoon checklist that every engineer or every occupant of the structure must be ready before ascertaining for the structural audit. Now we'll go through the main process. What is the main process? What is the NDT? What are the different types of the repairs? First, we'll start with the process of the appointment. Appointment of a structural audit. Structural auditor, I'm sorry. Structural auditor, while appointing, we must see his audit compliance certificate, his license, compliance report. Whenever he apply for the structural audit license, any civic body where he applies, he issued a letter of competency that yes, you have been empaneled for a structural auditor. So every engineer or every occupant or every owner of the apartment who wants to perform structural audit, he should ensure that yes, we are appointing right person, or else you may be in trouble. Then appointment of LS and architect. Now you must be thinking why architect or appointment of licensed surveyors is required for structural audit. Nowadays, whenever you want to go for a structural repair, you have to take permission from the corporation, and that application has to be processed by a BMC registered architect or the licensed surveyor. That's why you have to appoint LS or the architect, and you can appoint a person who can have both licenses. There are few structural auditors who are also registered as a LS, licensed surveyor, so you can get all services under one roof. And then obtaining necessary permissions. Nowadays, auto DCR portals have been developed by most of the corporation like Mumbai, Thane, Pune. So it is quite easier to obtain necessary permission through the console of the auto DCR portal. And then process of the audit that will go through the process separately. The structural audit compliance and submission of the report to MCGM. Here the question is how to initiate the process of structural audit. What is the process of structural audit? How to start? Now first is the comparison of the approved plan versus in situ construction, because as we discussed in last slide, there may be some addition alteration done by the members who may be structurally proved as unsafe or structurally unstable. So while entering any assignment for structural audit, be assured that you have got right drawing approved plan and you have compared approved plan versus in situ construction. Now there are few questions which are coming through the industry. Like in South Mumbai, there are most of the buildings which are around 100 years old, 150 years old, and approved plans are not available. In such cases, distress mapping can be done and you can plot your component on the distress map. Secondly, thirdly, alterations and addition. Based on the approved plan, you can verify what are the additions and alterations done by the member and what are the compliances with respect to those alterations. Fourth one is the important point while we start from the ground level, any settlements in the foundation. Fifth one is visual cracks in column, beam, slabs. Sixth one is concrete disintegration and exposed steel reinforcement. Then slight tapping with the hammer can reveal deterioration in the concrete. Status of OHT and UGT, overhead water tank and underground water tank. Plane protection. Last structural audit prepared. Test recommended, and then highlighting critical areas, repairs and compliance of the audit report. After this all basic and primary studies, we may decide what type of NDTs we have to perform and what are the different points where those NDT have to perform. So generally based on the condition of the site, following are the NDTs which can be performed: rebound hammer test, ultrasonic pulse velocity, carbonation, half cell potential, concrete core test. I've tried to cover some videos on my ongoing site to get you familiar with the few type of tests. After this compliance of the audit report, we can decide what type of repairs we have to go. One is the external repairs and other one is the internal repairs. These are two basic type of repairs distinguished by the non-technical persons. But since we are an engineer, RCC frame structure we have to analyze based on the RCC drawing. What are the different damages? What are the different uh, instability into the structure? What are the inviability of the structure? And based on that, we have to analyze the structure, and based on that, we can conclude with the BOQ of the proposed RCC structural repair. Then waterproofing, of course, yes, there are many types of waterproofing, many types of crack filler, crack sealants are available. We'll be reviewing into next few slides. Then staircase passages, pavements, compound wall, drainage, plumbing, and HVAC. These 10 types of major points of the repair are dependent on your audit report. So we have to ensure that our audit report is precise and it follows all related norms and conditions mentioned by the local civic bodies. Now here I'll try to show you a rebound hammer test. These all videos are available on my YouTube channel. Uh, Let us go with this rebound hammer test. I hope video is playing properly.
Yes, sir.
This is rebound hammer. And the procedure of the rebound hammer test. These are all actual videos when we perform the test. You can see our engineers are ready with the PP, safety shoes, and safety jackets, with safety helmets. He's cleaning the surface. Now he'll mark the test point. The surface should be neat and clean. Generally on 25 mm by 25 mm we do net, or we can call it as a mill. Now calibration. Calibration is one of the important process before start any test. You must be aware about the calibration of your UTM machine when you do compressive strength. The least count is 2 units plus or minus 2 units. So test anvil reading is 82. Now we are ready for the test. First reading is 31. Second reading is 32. Similarly, we have to take all readings. In each slot, we'll be taking the readings. I'm just forwarding because it's a replication. Now finally take against the test anvil value. 10 readings of rebound number is taken at each point of testing, and an average value of the reading is taken as a rebound value for the corresponding point of the observation on concrete surface. So these are the rebound hammer test diesel that we performed. So we got average value of 30. So this is one of the important tests into NDT, non-destructive test. In second slide, this is ultrasonic pulse velocity test. This is the velocity of the ultrasonic pulse passing through the sample. So this test is used to understand or identify the cracks, hollowness passing through the concrete ultrasonic pulse passing through the concrete surfaces. This is a carbonation test. This is a detailed process for the test. You can see the color changes in the color of the sample. These are all concrete samples extracted from the existing sections of the building. Naming of the sample is one of the important tasks, important factor, and placing of the sample is also important. You can observe changes in the color of this sample extracted. So this was a carbonation test. Now, how to conclude all these types of the different test and audit reports? Everyone, please concentrate on this slide, because this is the conclusion of your structural audit. Whatever we saw in last few slides, this is the conclusion of your audit, which is called as a pro forma B. It has to be filled by a structural auditor appointed by owner or tenant or occupier. First important column is name of the consultant. Then you start briefing on your structure, name of the building, CTS number, number of the story, year of construction and age of the building, that you can ascertain from copy of the occupancy certificate or copy of the assessment extract. User, whether it is residential user, commercial user, industrial user. Then date of inspection by consultant, date of preparation of report, validity period of report, it is minimum 6 months. Mode of construction of existing building. Mode of construction of existing building, foundation, floors, wall, beam, column and roof. Then history of earlier repairs done year-wise, slab recasting, column jacketing. Then structural repairs, tenantable repairs, roof waterproofing, plumbing, additional alterations if any. Then you have to brief on condition of the external plaster, internal plaster, plumbing, drainage line. Then different observations on the doors, windows, columns, steel, skirting, foundation settlement, deflection, snagging, major cracks in column beam, seepages, leakages, staircase, column condition, lift wall, UG tank. So these are different section of the building that auditor has to study. Then test reports, test carried out on structure observations, USPV, rebound hammer test, half cell potential, carbonation depth test, core test, chemical analysis, cement aggregate ratio, findings and range as per IS code. Distress mapping plan and photographs with the caption below above description of the structural member and its location. Then brief description of proposed repairs. Then conclusion of the consultant. This 16th number is very important point. Whether structure is leavable or not. Whether it is to be evacuated or pulled down. Pulled down is demolition. Whether structure requires tenantable repairs or major structural repairs. Tenantable repairs means repair which does not involve major structural repairs. And its time frame. Whether structure can be allowed to occupy during course of repairs, methodology of the repair, whether structure requires immediate propping, if so, its propping plan, methodology given, whether other immediate safety measure required, what is specific recommendation, enhancement in the life of structure after repair, frequency of the repair required in the extended time. Then project repair cost per square feet, project reconstruction cost square feet. Both cost structural auditor has to give, because then only a society or a particular owner of the building can take a call whether he has to proceed for the repair or entire reconstruction. Then specific remark. Then classification of the building. This is one of the important and key factor of this conclusion or the pro forma B. There are four different category of the building: C1, C2, and C3. C1 is the most horrible, most dangerous, which has to be evacuated, demolished immediately. C2A is to be evacuated and partial demolition require major structural repairs. C2B is quite satisfactory, no evacuation, no eviction, only structural repairs. And C3 is no eviction, you are safe, you need only minor repairs. So these are all four types of category for concluding pro forma B. So this is all about the annexure 2, which is a conclusion of the structural audit report. Now on the this currently we are going through the COVID coronavirus, and we are into a lockdown, and there are different issues raised by housing societies, how they will be proceeding for essential repair, pre-monsoon repair. This is all government documents, so we have to bear with the Marathi language. So Mumbai District Cooperative Housing Federation raised this very important issue to Honorable Commissioner of the Mumbai Municipal Corporation, and we requested them to allow all housing societies in Mumbai for maintenance and essential pre-monsoon repair. On that, the opposition leader of the Legislative Council also seconded our request, and he also put pressure on the government that yes, rectification, repair, structural repairs is very important and it must be done before starting of the monsoon. So we can see these two letters, and then Honorable Chief Engineer, Honorable Director of ES and MCGM, Mr. Vinod Chitore has written the email to me and copying it to Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra. His mail ID is cm@maharashtra.gov.in and mc@mcgm, Municipal Commissioner, and CS is the mail ID for Chief Secretary of Maharashtra State. He has clearly mentioned that with respect to your email for allowing repairs to society building, it is to inform that depending on GOM directives, GOM means Government of Maharashtra directives, MCGM has issued a circular about pre-monsoon work, tenantable repairs. The copy is enclosed, and society can apply as mentioned in the circular and get online permission. So the EODB has made a life of this housing societies easier to obtain permission during this lockdown. Here are few guidelines for your kind information, those who are interested to perform the structural audit, to get the structure repairs during this lockdown, how you can proceed. And this is a circular issued by Mumbai Municipal Corporation. The guidelines are same, almost same for most of the corporation except a few certain clauses. BMC has divided these guidelines for two different issues. One is the ongoing construction for new buildings, and B is structural repair works in all buildings which are already commenced. Waterproofing works, all tenantable repair like external plaster, internal plaster, plumbing work, and work specified under Section 342 of MMC Act. Section 342 of MMC Act is one of the big chapter of MMC Act. I used word of unauthorized addition alteration and authorized addition alteration. Whatever work has to be performed or executed into a building, it has to it has to get approval from MCGM or any local corporation. So that all miscellaneous approval comes under the section 342 of MMC Act. After applying through this section, we get permission. What type of permission we get? Here we can see one of the permission that we got recently for our one of the project in Chembur. You can see MCGM has written this permission to me to Vishal Kadne, LSK 449. Here is my office address, North Avenue, Olympia Business Park, Powai, Mumbai 76. Proposed repaired work at, we have intentionally hidden the name of the society and other technical details. So this is all about how to obtain the permissions and how to proceed for the structural repairs. You must have some knowledge on this type of licensing work as well, because then only you can suggest your client, because you can suggest that work, only that work which can be approved, which is in approvable nature, or else your suggestion will not be useful to the client. So you have to go through all these guidelines before suggesting, before concluding your remarks. So this was all about the structural repairs. Now, these are some recent guidelines, various facilities for the workers on construction site, on in housing societies, what type of facilities that we have to provide. See here, hand sanitizer, a pedal sanitizer footed machine is there. Then you can see the wash basin is connected to this foot operated spring, and we no need to touch a tap or anything, and this tap is operationable. And here we can see the thermal screening is going on, social distancing is followed, the wash basin facility is there, then sanitization is provided into fifth image. So this is all about, before we conclude, how to proceed during this COVID-19 effect, how our life has been changed due to this COVID-19. So these are all photographs of a few sites. So this was all about the structural audit and pre-monsoon repair. We tried to cover some basic work so that it won't be tough for you to represent or to understand the things. Now the call is yours. We'll proceed for the question answer session with due permission of our honorable faculty members. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, sir, for that informative session. And to be completely honest, thank you for sharing all the official documents with us, which has enhanced our understanding about the situation as well. So, with your permission, we'd like to proceed with the next session, that is the Q&A session. So, my first question to you is, of course, all the talks of precautions, of course, seem to be enough to dampen the walls of our spirit. But do you think there are any disadvantages of structural audit?
Structural audit is analysis to ascertain the quality, to ascertain the stability of your structure. So there is no disadvantages to perform any sort of structural audit basically. Yes, sometimes it happens when the apartment is fully furnished and auditor comes into apartment and he tried to put some marking, then he do some test on some surfaces. Yes, it is quite heartening process, but it is for the betterment of the structural stability of the building or his own apartment. So it is always better to set our mind accordingly that yes, it is beneficial thing, and of course we will be ascertaining our stability of the building for our own safety and security.
What do you think the role should be played by the residents of a building in order to maintain its condition to the fullest? I mean, of course, the structural audit has to be conducted according to the guidelines, but what do you expect from the residents to be the utmost?
Basically, since I'm going through various housing societies issues, I'll be the right person to share my experience on this. See, there should be a policy for each and everything. For an example, if you want to do an interior, till what distance you can extend your WC unit, till what extent you can damage your external pipelines. Are you authorized to extend your shaft? Are you authorized to enclose your balconies into living room? So these are all different types of things which generally non-technical or the common people generally repeats, and then the structure get damaged. So there are few videos on YouTube that I'll be sharing in chat box later on. The specifically one session was done by the Doordarshan channel. What are the threads and prawns for the interior? It is into Marathi language, but those who can bear with the language, yes, of course, you go through it and you will be happy to know what are the different precaution or checklist while doing any addition or alteration in the apartment. So voice, you are mute.
I'm sorry, sir. We have one of the questions from the attendees. What is the frequency for calibrating the UPV meter and the rebound hammer?
See, there are different guidelines by different codes. Like we follow BIS or IS code. There are some client who believes in ASTM, ASC codes. But based on my experience, there are few of my international clients who do not believe on frequency. At every structural audit, they want a fresh frequency, fresh calibration, and they do not believe on the earlier old frequency reports, because generally what happened when we sent particular instrument for calibration and it come back through a different logistics, the handling of the non-expertise people may affect the instrument. So generally my most of the international client believe on not believe on frequency based, but at every new assignment they prefer for calibration.
Okay. Another question from an attendee is, if a co-cutting test is taking place on a particular part of a building, does it create some harsh cracks which are quite difficult to be taken care of?
See, while doing core cut, you must ensure the beat of the core is new one, or it is not used, it is not wear and tear into last few assignments. Beat is new one, or it is enough capable to take a load of the cutting. It won't leave any single scratch on your structure. It will give you a smoother surface, and after that core cutting, once you take out your core, you can fill it that portion with a micro concrete or GP2. There are different products available into the market. You can refill those particular blocks.
Okay. Sir, as we all know that many of the jobs are being going to be taken over by artificial intelligence and technology. So, do you think that virtual reality or artificial intelligence as a whole would be an excellent tool for structural auditing?
Yes, of course, because now we are working on one. It is a confidential assignment. I can't share name of the assignment, but it is one of the bridge which is under the component or piers of the bridge are below the sea, and some part of the bridge is above water level, some part is below water level. So in that case, yes, of course, we are using technology. One of the brand Dronage is helping us to take a close snapshot, to take a thermal imaging, to take underwater images. So yes, of course, yes, there are many artificial intelligence involved into structural audit. It depend on client to client. What is the client requirement? What is basically it runs all over the budget. because all this will be moving around the commercial offer. So, but yes, artificial intelligence has put emphasis on the structural audit.
And sir, is there any other process which is supposed to be carried out for the structural audit of a bridge and other big structures?
Yes, now we have seen the rebound hammer test video. The mesh prepared for this particular sample collection was very small. See, the sampling matters, the way of sample collection. In terms of the bridges, again, you have to come back, you have to prepare your own checklist, whether it is post-tension bridge, whether it is precast bridge, whether it is fully structural steel, or whether it is with the RCC, whether what type of tendons they have used. So you, based on the material, you have to go with the structural audit. So what type of material, what type of surface specimen you have to check. Based on that, you can decide strategy, and then after freezing methodology, you can start your investigation.
Okay. Last two questions, sir. As a civil engineer, we do have a connection with buildings as a whole. So, what do you think is the heart of a building and a brain of a building?
See, basically, a building you can compare with a human body. You must have studied into RCC subject that structural steel get curtailed as you go on upper floors. So all load, whether it is static or dynamic, it comes on the foundation, it comes on the footings, it comes on your substructure. So one thing is, of course, yes, substructure and core of the structure. These two important part we should not ignore. And after that, superstructure, which involves shear walls. Nowadays, shear wall concept is in trend. Earlier, we were used to execute with a column, beam, and slab. But nowadays, shear wall is came into picture. And since the MY1 type of shuttering came into picture, entire peripheral wall comes with the RCC nowadays. So there is no something like whether it is brain, whether it is heart. But yes, of course, core of the structure is, you can say it is heart of the structure, which transmit all load, upcoming loads to the foundation of the building, and foundation, you can say, it transmit load to the substructure.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, is there any message you'd like to give all the students, all the aspiring civil
Yeah,
engineers?
of course, yes. See, this 45 minutes or 1 hour is not sufficient to take such a vast topic. And also, I'm not aware of your interest, because someone may be interested into structural designing, someone may be structural audit, someone may be licensing, someone wants to become a contractor, he may be interested into structural repair processes. So I try to cover basics of all 4 or 5 sub branches of structural audit and pre-monsoon repairs, whatever is required. But yes, in my we have some technical training courses which provides you online training as well as on-site experience. These are all some 40 hours training course is there, and 20 students at a time can join that particular course. So those who want to get more knowledge in structural engineering or structural design, those can join that particular training courses, where you can get practical knowledge as well on some ongoing sites, like we have some bridges site, we have residential, we have commercial. So uh, those who are interested can join those training courses, and they can separately email to our respected Dr. Asal sir, and they will communicate it to us.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, and how would you describe the civil engineering industry in one word?
One word won't be sufficient, because yes, civil engineering is a forever branch. It's a evergreen branch. You can become structural engineer, you can become valuer, you can become a licensing architect, you can become piping engineer, you can become environmental engineer. So you have to extend your own wings, and you have to prove your competency into engineering. Of course, yes, you have to follow proper study material, you have to follow your advices, guidance from your mentors, honorable professors, and then your further post graduation. And if you know the basics, see, understanding into a basics is very important. Rocket science is different thing that you get familiar once you are into industry. But if you do not know the basics, you will be nowhere. So please concentrate on your basics, and basics will make you a successful, will give you a successful career. If you do not know basics, now more in structural audit, I'll give you a funny example with your due permission. There was one session of structural engineers, and I was a speaker. It happened in some 15 days back. I asked one simple question. You must have done compressive strength of the concrete in your UTM, in your concrete lab. Uh, Now there are 70 students are there, 70 attendees are there, students. Can anyone tell me what is the right process to place concrete block into UTM, and what is the principle behind that? How to place concrete block into UTM? Can anyone tell me? This is all related to basics. And it is nowhere mentioned into any book, nowhere mentioned into MS Shetty, nowhere mentioned into concrete technology, nowhere mentioned. Can anyone tell me how to vibrate the concrete cube? Any idea? So these are all basic questions. Mr. Shubham, exposed surface of the cube should be on top. Shubham has tried to Mr. Shubham has tried to give some answer. Let me tell you, concrete. Whenever we perform any type of stress type of test, it is Newton per mm square. So you have to get minimum reading. We called it as a characteristic strength of the particular concrete or particular section. And when we can get it maximum, when we can get it safe reading, when the Newton per mm square is minimum, when your reading is minimum. So for that, your area should be more, or you can say the area which is touched to your UTM should be maximum. So wherever the marking has been done, you do not have to put that area into surface of the UTM. So those area will be on side of the UTM, and area which is free from all marking, naming, because generally we do have habit that we take some wire mesh and we write it on our name, class, date of the casting, and then we put it for the drying. But you if you measure the surface area, you have lost your surface area by certain mm square. So those particular areas should not be kept vertically, so that your maximum surface area is in touch with the UTM. So this is one very basic question. Similarly, vibration of the concrete, concrete design, advanced mix design. So there are separate, different types of the basics, and this was one example. So just believe in basics and do your good studies, perform well. Of course, as Datta Meg is best college for civil engineering, since I have enjoyed a lot with all professors. I have groomed up under the mentorship of these all professors.
Thank you very much, sir, for an absolute informative session. Well, to be completely honest, I've watched your videos on YouTube in which you have explained the Section 353, that is the condition of the building under the MMC Act, thoroughly. And I'm really honored to have you here. And we are really delighted for the fact that you you were a student of Datta Meghe College of Engineering. That makes it even more prestigious. Thank you very much for sharing your valuable time with us. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Over to you, Rasal, sir.
Thank you, Vishal sir, for such a wonderful session. Now I would like to request Manju Devi ma'am to say vote of thanks for this session.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Datta Meghe College of Engineering, Civil Department, I would like to thank Kadne sir, to deliver that very nicely and insightful topic, the structural audit. We started with what are the preliminary planning to do that structural audit and how to prepare the structural audit report. Everything you covered very nicely. It was very useful for our students. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you, Manja
Thank
ma'am.
you, sir.
Feedback link is